Tonight at 5, a new push by the Environmental Protection Agency to significantly limit forever chemicals in drinking water. A closer look at the plan.
Plus, Wisconsin Native American tribes gathered at the state capitol today for the State of the Tribes address, their message to state lawmakers.
And it is a big honor for one local custodian. We'll share his story as he works to become Custodian of the Year. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Thanks for staying with us at 5, everyone. Let's begin tonight with a look at our first warn forecast. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti is on the weather patio. Gary?
Yes, that is sunshine out here. How about that? Yesterday's clouds are gone. Today we had sunshine, although temperatures remained on the cold side. Let's take a look at visible cloud track, and you see just how sunny it was across southern Wisconsin. In fact, most of the Midwest seeing very little in the way of cloud cover. Most of what the white that you see on the map there is actually snow on the ground. You can see a few clouds moving through parts of Minnesota and Iowa that might move in here later on tonight, but we'll see thicker clouds during the day tomorrow. With the clear skies overnight, we dropped to 9 degrees in Madison, but to the north it was as cold as 3 below zero in Camp Douglas and 13 below zero in Black River Falls. So central parts of the state were pretty cold last night, but current temperatures are right around freezing. Madison at 31, Janesville just above freezing at 34. Temperatures are a little colder to the east. Across Dane County right now, 29 in Sun Prairie, but 32 in Mount Horeb and 32 in Cross Plains. Look for skies to be mostly clear this evening. Temperatures will drop off to about 22 by late evening, but those temperatures will start to rise overnight, and we'll see milder weather for the next couple of days. I'll tell you how warm it'll get and when the next chance of rain or snow is as we head into at least the latter part of the week. In fact, we could be looking at the possibility for some snow as we head into Friday. Possibility exists at least for some minor snow accumulations there, probably more likely north of Dane County. Otherwise, we're looking at least a couple of mild days with temperatures in the middle 40s for Thursday and Friday, and then we'll turn colder as we head into the weekend and start warming up again as we head into next week.
All right, Gary, thank you. Police in schools. It was supposed to be a settled issue in Madison after the district voted in 2020 to remove them from schools, but the state legislature is revisiting it today.
Republicans have introduced a bill that could force schools in a district like Madison to hire school resource officers called SROs. A Madison school would have to hire an SRO if the school meets certain conditions, like an abundance of fights and arrests. But Democrats argue it should be up to the districts to decide.
A Madison school would have to hire an SRO if the school meets certain conditions, like an abundance of those fights, as we mentioned. And Will Keneally offers this story from the Capitol.
If your local school district can make their own decisions, why can't mine?
Under a bill introduced in the Assembly today, schools would be forced to hire SROs in certain instances.
In this bill was geared at 2 school districts.
In short, this would largely impact Madison and Milwaukee, 2 districts that voted to remove police officers from their schools. Advocates cited in part the impact that those officers' presence can have on students of color for why this bill should be voted down.
So we're talking about black girls. When we're talking about the school to prison pipeline, these are the kids who are affected the most in our largest school districts.
Individual schools would have to bring police in if they have 100 or more incidents in a semester. That could be things like disorderly conduct on school grounds, and 25 of those incidents result in an arrest. Republicans argue that it's necessary for school safety.
Because liberal governments won't protect them. And that is sad. That is embarrassing for those governments. And it's got to stop.
There are about 230 school safety officers in Milwaukee Public Schools. These are unarmed people, but their sole duty is to break up the fight, find the knife, find the scissors, find the lighters, do whatever it is. Build rapport with students so they don't bring those things to school.
Sweeping moves from the feds today, a proposal to significantly limit the level of so-called forever chemicals in drinking water.
This move from the Environmental Protection Agency is one that Clean Wisconsin says will stop serious illnesses and other health risks. Our Catherine Merck joins us in the studio to explain what this means for Wisconsin. Catherine?
This move from the EPA would limit PFAS, or per and polyfluorinated substances, to the lowest amount that tests can pick up on. PFAS don't degrade in the environment and are linked to health issues, including low birth weight babies and kidney cancer. The plan marks the first time the EPA has proposed regulating a toxic group of compounds that are widespread, dangerous, and expensive to remove from the water. Today, I spoke with Clean Wisconsin about the dangers of these compounds and why steps to limit them are important.
It's important that people recognize how little of this stuff can contaminate a significant amount of water. We're talking about a few drops in an Olympic-sized swimming pool that could then render that water unsafe to drink.
And though adjusting to a change like this could sound like a lot of work ahead for water providers, the public will have a chance to comment, and the EPA can make changes before issuing the final rule, and that's expected to end by the end of the year.
Catherine, thank you. New at 5, the 19th State of the Tribes address was presented to the Wisconsin legislature today. Each year, the Great Lakes Intertribal Council selects a member to give the address. This year, the chairman of the Secaucus Chippewa community, Robert Van Zyl, delivered the speech. He spoke about the importance of tribes being heard by state leaders and both continuing efforts to work together.
The decisions made in this state legislature have tremendous impact on our tribal nations, and our nations have tremendous impact on the state, which is why it's important for our nation and legislative leaders engage in meaningful consultation beyond this day and throughout the year.
Van Zyl also called on lawmakers to do more to address threats to public health and safety that disproportionately affect Native Americans. That includes increasing access to health care on tribal lands, fighting pollution, and ending violence against Native American women.
Wisconsin Supreme Court nominee Dan Kelly served as the guest speaker for a lunch in the Milwaukee Press Club this afternoon. He also answered questions from a panel of journalists. Kelly's opponent, Milwaukee County Judge Janet Protasewicz, declined an invitation to the event, citing scheduling conflicts. Kelly and Protasewicz are vying for a state Supreme Court seat that will likely determine ideological control of the state's highest court. And a reminder, the two candidates will meet in their only debate of the campaign next Tuesday. It's sponsored by News 3 Now, the State Bar, and WISC Politics. The debate will air at 4 p.m., preempting live at 4.
The wait to see where Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers will play continues this afternoon. So far, it seems the New York Jets are a potential landing spot for the future Hall of Famer, and he may not be the only Packer heading to the Big Apple. ESPN is reporting wide receiver Allen Lazard has agreed to a 4-year, $10 million deal. The Jets are also reportedly trying to get Randall Cobb. It appears the Jets' plans are part of a campaign to convince Rodgers to join the team as he continues to weigh his future options. Stay tuned. Next at 5, as spring break season begins, local health officials are sharing some health reminders before you travel. UW Health says it's important to stay up to date on all vaccinations. Dr. Jeff Potoff says while we're in a much better place in the pandemic now, your risk of getting sick increases the more you travel. Doctors also say it's important to plan ahead and think about access to medical care in the area when you are traveling.
They're traveling, they likely don't want to find themselves sick, and more likely than not, don't want to find themselves so sick that they need to go to a hospital. One, that's uncomfortable. You're not surrounded by family and friends. Two, it can be extraordinarily expensive to be admitted to a hospital that, say, is out of network or for sure out of the country.
The CDC also recommends wearing a mask in high traffic areas and washing hands often or using hand sanitizer.
Now that the federal government has stepped in to save customers of 2 recently failed banks, the next step includes investigating what led to the collapse. CBS News has confirmed the Department of Justice has launched an investigation into the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, specifically the actions of senior bank executives there. The bank CEO issued a letter to customers Tuesday urging them to not only leave their deposits in the bank, but to reinvest the money they took out over the last week. Some Republican lawmakers are blaming the collapse on the interest rate hikes.
Prior to the bank collapse from last week, people were anticipating a 50 basis point hike again. I think they're now anticipating more of a 25 basis point hike. And some people are actually saying by the end of the year, you might start to see some interest rate cuts.
New numbers out today show inflation still sticking around, but the February numbers are lower than what they were in January. Coming up, Gary has the latest on our first warn forecast.
Plus, we'll introduce you to a Cross Plains custodian who is hoping to be named Custodian of the Year. We'll have that story after the break. And later, Wisconsin National Guard numbers are dropping. How the organization is working to improve recruitment. We'll have that story tonight at 6.
And a strong Tuesday on Wall Street. The Dow jumping more than 336 points. And NASDAQ gains 239. S&P 500 adds 65. We'll be right back.
All you have to do is point. Yes!
1-800-GOT-JUNK can make it disappear.
And that's why they all start dancing.
Woo!
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Clearview Cabinetry starts as a kitchen built for right now and grows with you as life changes. It's flexible by design, so you can go from doors to drawers for storage that works at every stage. Clearview Cabinetry is now 11% off. Complete your project with countertops from Menards with elegant to everyday options and easy installation that you can do yourself. Get 11% off countertops and start your next project today. Now at Menards.
At McGann Furniture and Flooring in Baraboo, we know that hardworking people want the most value for their money. At McGann's, we've already sorted out and selected the brands that we feel offer you the most bang for your buck. From young couples to senior citizens, we offer a huge selection at prices that will fit your budget. And remember, at McGann's, we don't raise prices only to lower them later for a sale. Discover the difference at McGann Furniture and Flooring, downtown Baraboo.
It's easier to manage my chemo side effects since the Grace Supportive Care came to see me. They're taking the time to listen and talk about options for feeling better.
A Grace, caring every step of the way.
Enjoy the simple pleasures of an era gone by.
Help.
Two candidates for Supreme Court, two very different beliefs. Judge Janet Protasewicz, she believes women should have the freedom to make their own decisions on abortion. Extremist Dan Kelly, he supports the 1849 law that takes away women's rights and criminalizes abortion, even in cases of rape, incest, and health of the mother. So who represents you? An extremist or a common sense judge? Vote by April 4th.
All you have to do is point. Yes!
1-800-GOT-JUNK can make it disappear.
And that's why they all start dancing.
Woo!
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Tonight on News 3 Now, following a nationwide trend, Wisconsin's National Guard is facing recruitment issues.
Tahlil Mohadeen looks at potential safety concerns and how the organization is attempting to correct the problem. Tonight at 6.
The candidates for Madison mayor face off. News 3 Now, channel3000.com, and the Cap Times present a debate between Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway and challenger Gloria Reyes.
Watch live streaming March 27th and replayed March 28th on News 3 Now. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
A custodian at Park Elementary School in Cross Plains is a finalist for a big honor.
That's right. Rodney Esser has roamed the halls there, get this, for nearly 6 decades. And now, as Andrew Banster tells us, the community is hoping to help him clean up in a contest naming America's top custodian. Andrew?
Affectionately known as Mr. Peanuts, Rodney Esser is as humble as he is kind. He had no clue he was even nominated for this award until today, but an outpouring of support online shows this contest was made for Mr. Peanuts.
I've never expected anything like this here.
In his 58th year at Park Elementary School in Cross Plains, Rodney Esser was named a finalist for the National Custodian of the Year Award.
I keep getting messages on my phone that people are already voting, and I didn't know what it was for.
In one way or another, he's been tending this land his whole life. He used to farm the land the school sits on today, but when the school district bought the land in 1965...
And they said, well, we bought the land, and you go with the land. So that's how that came about. I didn't apply for the job. I just went with the land. So once a farmer, always a farmer. That's me.
He is beloved by staff, students, and everyone. He shows up at 5 a.m. to shovel and stays after school in programs he's helped create.
And I try to incorporate kids with that, with special needs and things like that. And I have one of them that actually runs a Zamboni, and he's only a 3rd grader.
For decades, he's held a financial literacy class for students. He mends minds into well-rounded people, setting up kids with summer jobs, teaching kids how to plant trees, and even holding an annual school-wide music camp.
Gives me a good feeling that I'm giving back to the kids with that. And I like to find a need and see if I can do something about it to make their life better.
The National Custodian of the Year Award has 10 finalists, and the winner will receive $10,000 in cash, $5,000 in cleaning supplies, $30,000 in training, and an all-expenses-paid trip to Las Vegas. Now, if you want to vote for Mr. Peanuts, head to this story on channel3000.com.
I think it's a great story. We got to vote for Mr. Peanuts. He deserves that. Andrew, thank you. President Biden in California tonight addressing gun safety. An administration official says he's unveiling executive actions to ensure vendors follow background check protocols. They include asking the Attorney General to enforce existing laws and to clarify who has to follow them. The visit also includes a meeting with the families and victims of January's deadly mass shooting in Monterey Park. That's where a shooter opened fire in a dance studio while the Asian American community was celebrating the Lunar New Year. The mass shooting was one of 110 in the U.S. so far this year.
A powerful nor'easter is rolling across New England, dumping between 9 to 28 inches of snow in some places and causing havoc for air travel. Along with hundreds of delays and cancellations, there was a ground stop at New York's LaGuardia Airport today. Power crews also on the move, working to restore service to thousands of customers. At many grocery stores, last-minute supply runs.
Just get enough food to last a couple days, dig out maybe, next 2 days, and then go from there.
Right now, the biggest concern for the resident is to make sure they stay home and they stay safe.
The storm will start to taper off tomorrow as it shifts off the coast. And we have a little more unsettled weather coming for later in the week. Not snow, though, right, Gary?
Yeah, mostly rain. This is the 30th anniversary of the superstorm of 1993 that basically pummeled the East Coast from the deep south all the way up into New England. Some areas picked up over 4 feet of snow. They had a foot of snow as far south as Birmingham, Alabama, and severe weather with tornadoes and a squall line that raced through Florida. But around here, 3 things you need to know. We're looking at mild weather for the next couple of days. High temperatures in the 40s for tomorrow and Thursday compared to the low 30s that we saw today. We'll see rain develop on Thursday, but that will mix with and change to snow later Thursday night into early Friday morning. But the good news is, by the time it shifts over to snow and when it will be windy and colder on Friday, the bulk of the precipitation will be shifting to our north. So that should limit the snowfall potential. And here's why. Here's the future track from the European computer model beginning at noon on Thursday. You can see how the precipitation starts out in the form of rain. This is 6 p.m. Thursday, winds out of the south. But notice the shift in winds to the northwest and north. That's where the colder air starts moving in, and the rain quickly changes over to snow. Midnight, mainly rain here, but as we head through the overnight hours, notice the transition to a mix of rain and snow, and then eventually to snow. But by that time, the bulk of the heavier precipitation is shifting up to the north into upper Michigan. So right now, by noon on Friday, most of the precipitation will be coming to an end, or at least tapering down to some flurries. The heavier snow will be in upper Michigan and far northeastern Wisconsin and moving away from us, although some flurries will linger into Saturday. The latest computer forecast amounts for snow, this is from Thursday night into Friday. Again, very heavy snow in upper Michigan and far northern Wisconsin. Here in southern Wisconsin, the European model has less than an inch of accumulation. The GFS computer model, or the U.S. computer model, a little bit more snow in southern Wisconsin, but still just a couple of inches, mainly north of Dane County. Again, very heavy snow, but maybe a 1.5 feet in parts of upper Michigan. But again, the snow depth, they've got plenty of snow on the ground, and it'll stay cold enough for snow there. Notice to our south, the snow's starting to erode away pretty quickly, and that will allow the southerly winds that we'll see over the next couple of days to warm us up. So at this point, we're looking, again, for mainly rain on Thursday. Planning your night, look for mostly clear skies by morning. Low temperature 26 in Dalyville, 26 in Cross Plains, and 24 in Windsor. Across the rest of southern Wisconsin, low 25 Janesville, 25 in Madison, 27 in Lone Rock, and 28 degrees in Platteville. These will be mainly late tonight. Temperatures will be around 20 around midnight and then rise overnight. And then look for a high of 46 for tomorrow. Partly sunny skies in the morning will turn cloudy in the afternoon. The rain on Thursday into Thursday night could see a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of rain over much of southern Wisconsin. Farther to the north, a lot of that will be in the form of snow, and some of that snow will be heavy, but that'll be north of our viewing area. Our first warn 7 to 10 day forecast, we dropped from 48 on Thursday to 31 on Friday, and that'll be in the morning with steady temperatures through the day. It'll be blustery and cold. Saturday will be windy and cold as well, with a few flurries and a high temperature of 28. But temperatures start to warm up as we go into the official start of spring on Monday. Those temperatures go from near 40 on Sunday to around 50 by the end of the week, with some rain shower chances from Thursday into Friday of next week. As we check out first warn traffic right now, here's a view of I-39, 90, 94 at US 151. Traffic moving pretty steadily on the interstate. No problems on the Beltline, I-39, 90, 94 on the east side of Madison. Just a little bit of a delay on East Washington Avenue north of the Isthmus. About a 15-minute trip either way on the Beltline between University Avenue and Interstate. 18 minutes inbound from Sun Prairie to downtown. Heading outbound, 25 minutes from the Beltline to Janesville on I-39, 90. A quick 15 minutes from Middleton to Sauk City on US 12. Downtown to Sun Prairie, heading outbound on East Washington Avenue is an 18-minute trip. That's your News 3 Now First Warn traffic.
All right, thank you, Gary. Today is Equal Pay Day, a day that in the U.S. marked to symbolize how far into the year the average woman has to work in order to have earned what the average man earned the entire previous year. According to the American Association of University Women, full-time women workers make 84% of what men make with full-time jobs on average. That gap is even greater for women of color. The pay gap has been slowly shrinking over the past 2 decades. It now arrives about a month earlier than it used to.
The Summer Olympics return to Europe next year with Paris as the host city. There are now just 500 days to go before the games kick off, and what some are calling an unusual move, the opening ceremony will be held outdoors with up to 600,000 spectators crowding bridges and riverbanks to watch about 10,000 athletes sail past famous landmarks on a nearly 4-mile river route. A huge push is underway to clean up the River Seine, where swimming has been banned for the last century because of pollution. Authorities promise it will be transformed and swimmable for competitors. Well, coming up, some food prices are finally coming down, but others are still going up. The details next at 5.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
It's time to march into deer season. Get your John Deere 1025R with a 120R loader for just $195 per month. Get a John Deere now. And power up at Sloan's. Think Sloan's first.
Like, we so amazing.
The stylish Chevy Equinox RS.
Like,
and Chevy Blazer RS.
So captivating.
You don't have to be an influencer to be an influencer.
The crowd go crazy.
The RS family of Chevy SUVs. Definitely worth a follow. Well-qualified buyers get 2.9% financing on all 2023 Equinox models, or get $1,000 cash allowance on all 2023 Equinox models. Plus, current Chevy owners get an additional $750 cash allowance.
Sexual assault of an 11-year-old. No prison time. He raped a military veteran, left her for dead. Just 2.5 years. Raped a mentally disabled 14-year-old. Probation. How the heck did this happen? Janet Protasewicz.
If you could go back in time, would you have ruled any differently? I would say no.
Really? No time in prison?
I would say no.
Protasewicz set violent criminals free. Again and again. Tell Judge Protasewicz, stop protecting criminals.
There are so many things we take for granted. So many things. And along with them, sometimes we take the people who depend on them for their survival for granted too. The elderly, disabled, the veterans, people on limited and fixed incomes, or folks that lost jobs in sectors hardest hit during the pandemic. How can they survive with record increases in their basic cost of living? Some people just can't come back. And through no fault of their own, they're being left behind, struggling to keep their heat, water, and power on. If you or someone you know needs a hand up, our heat, water, and power providers are working together to keep you safely in your home. You may not ask for it, but we're here to help.
Fjords has been crafting beautifully designed functional furniture since 1941. Every aspect of Fjords furniture has been carefully engineered to create a higher level of relaxation. Right now at the Century House, purchase any Fjords furniture and receive up to 20% off. All models, all sizes, all colors. Experience the unmatched relaxation you can only achieve in Fjords furniture. Relaxation made beautiful. Visit the Century House at 3420 University Avenue in Madison or online at centuryhouseinc.com.
It's time to march into deer season. Get your John Deere Gator utility vehicle with 0% for 36 months and no money down. Get a John Deere Gator now and
power up at Sloan's.
Think Sloan's first.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Price of eggs finally starting to come back down to earth, and you may have already noticed it. Down 7% from January to February, but still up 55% over a year ago. That was due to short supply caused by avian flu, high input costs, and also egg producers lining their own pockets. Groceries in general are about 10% pricier than last year. Butter, nearly 21% more expensive. Bread, 16% more expensive. And as the cost of all kinds of everyday items remains high, measures to solve the problem could be put on hold because of issues in the banking industry.
Michael George takes a closer look.
A trip to the grocery store keeps getting more expensive. A new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows food prices are up more than 10% in the past year. Rents are marching higher, and utilities like electricity and piped gas jumped more than 13%. The higher costs are hitting restaurants hard, including the Root Cafe in Little Rock, Arkansas.
We've seen an increase of about 30 to 40% in our gas prices.
Overall, inflation increased 6% in February. Historically, it's a big annual increase, but less than the 6.4% number back in January.
The takeaway from this report is that prices are decelerating, but they remain high.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says the Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates to cool inflation. And Chairman Jerome Powell recently told Congress that more hikes would be coming.
Without price stability, the economy does not work for anyone.
Economists had expected a quarter or even a half-point increase when the board meets next week. But that was before the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank and New York-based Signature Bank.
There is a real question as to what the Fed will do. There are many who believe that the instability of the financial and banking system, even though it's just small banks or medium-sized banks, that could be enough to put the Fed's plans on ice for next week, that they could pause, but also tell us that it's not over.
Schlesinger says if there is a pause, it would only be temporary because the Fed is committed to bringing inflation down. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
One of the few bright spots in the inflation report is good news for people if you're looking to buy a car.
That's right. Used car prices are actually down more than 13% compared to last year. We'll have a final check of your first warn forecast when we come back.
Construction invites you to celebrate spring with our big spring thaw sale. We're talking about savings of 23%. Many of your neighbors already know how we strive to meet and exceed expectations with each and every project. That's why they voted us Best Roofer 3 years in a row. Experience the best of Madison for yourself with Fry Construction. Get on board with our spring thaw sale. Save 23% off gutters or insulation with any full roofing project. Schedule your consultation today at fryconstruction.com.
This is how legends are made. Chevy Silverado and new Silverado HD. Choose your own path with the #1 best-selling retail full-size pickup and see where it takes you. Find new roads. It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all Silverado 1500 pickups. And current Chevy owners get $2,500 cash allowance on this Silverado with a turbo high-output engine. Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in Wisconsin.
A supper club, a place that serves supper. We started off with a house coffee, Garden salad, a potatoes au gratin, bacon wrapped scallops. Hello, little friends. Old fashioned. That's superior.
Dan Kelly is extremely corrupt. 6 times Kelly ruled in favor of a plaintiff with close ties. He was on their advisory panel. He took contributions from their board. And all 6 times, Kelly ruled in their favor. Another time, Kelly changed his mind about whether to judge the Zignego case after pocketing $20,000 in contributions from the Zignego family. Corruption, extremism, that's Dan Kelly.
Habesh attorneys are the best of what a personal injury attorney is about.
To get the most money for your case, you need to have a law firm that's unrelenting.
We will fight with all that we have in person power, in knowledge and experience to bring about the result they deserve.
I can't give them their life back how it was, but I can give them the financial compensation to get their life back on track.
We've got a lot of news to cover tonight. Our series, Living Well. Did you hear about the new study that shows the amount of sleep you get at night could impact your longevity? Find out the tips for a better night's sleep and why drinking a cup of coffee before a nap may actually work. That's tonight right here on the CBS Evening News.
And let's go to Gary. Final check of the forecast.
Looks nice out there right now. Lots of sunshine. There's a live view from the WISC-TV Skycam looking to the west and the Platteville Queen Bee Radio Skycam. Plenty of sunshine there, but temperatures are on the cold side. 30 in Platteville, 34 Janesville, 31 Madison, 34 in the Dells, across Dane County, 31 right now in Deerfield, 30 in Sun Prairie, and 32 in Wanakee. Look for mostly clear skies this evening. Temperatures dropping into the lower 20s, but we'll warm up for tomorrow. I'll tell you how warm it'll get at 6.
And we'll be back in a half hour for news for now at 6. CBS Evening News is next. Stand by.